is a secret message. We would then pick a keyword like cloaked and write down the message in a grid or matrix like so. Then we assign a number to each letter in the keyword based on their alphabetical order. So A, C, D, E, K, L, O. Then we rearrange the columns in numerical order. Finally, we write down the letters in each column to generate the ciphertext. Fairly simple stuff. But that simplicity is also the weakness of a cipher like this one, because you can sort of guess your way to a solution with a lot of patience, a bit of luck, and some know-how. And that's precisely what the NSA team did. They quickly noticed there's only one Q in the entire K3 ciphertext. They also knew that plenty of English words that begin with Q are followed by a U, and there were only 5 U's. So they simply took the Q along with a few letters before and after and wrote them down as a column. Then they did the same with the 5 U's and placed them next to the first column. Some of the letter combinations were problematic, like YY and HH, which would be unlikely to show up in an English word. But other columns looked more promising, like the HE in this pair of columns, which could be the end of the most common word of all. So they tried a few T columns, followed by some more columns, and a few more columns, and that was pretty much it. They eventually recovered the entire plaintext through nothing more than educated guesswork. In fact, the assumption that Q would be followed by a U proved to be wrong, but they still managed to find a solution. They also realized that the last 4 characters were actually part of K4 rather than K3. Alright, so that was K3 unlocked, on to K1. The reason the NSA team tackled K3 ahead of K1 is because the latter was only 63 characters long. Generally speaking, the shorter the ciphertext, the more difficult it is to break. Fortunately, the K1 ciphertext was just another Visionaire cipher. All they had to do was repeat the steps taken to solve K2, and eventually they recovered the entire K1 plaintext, which reads
I crack her cipher till she breaks my
subtle shading
code.
and the absence of light lies the nuance of occlusion.
Moving on to the K2 plaintext, it reads like this.
It was totally invisible. How's that possible? They used the Earth's magnetic field, X. The information was gathered and transmitted underground to an unknown location, X. Does Langley know about this? They should, it's buried out there somewhere, X. Who knows the exact location? Only WW. This was his last message, X. 38 degrees, 57 minutes, 6.5 seconds north. 77 degrees, 8 minutes, 44 seconds west. ID by Rose.
Finally, we have
Willy
the K3
Wonka?
plaintext, which reads as follows.
Slowly, desperately slowly, the remains of passage debris that encumbered the lower part of the doorway was removed with trembling hands. I made a tiny breach in the upper left-hand corner, and then widening the hole a little, I inserted a candle and peered in. The hot air escaping from the chamber caused the flame to flicker, but presently, details of the room within emerged from the mist. X. Can you see anything, Q?
Alright, so what the hell does any of that mean? Well, something that